Thank you for joining the webinar today. We're going to be going over our sensor solutions as it pertains to green and grow houses, but the core of this will mainly focus on how sensor technology is used in the greenhouse environments. Green and grow houses aren't 100% identical, but the sensors used and the process behind getting the data is the same. Monnit was founded in 2010. We are a global organization, having shipped to around 85 countries last year. So if you are attending this webinar from outside of the United States, we do have technology that can accommodate your regulatory requirements. The company is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah. To aid us in doing business overseas, we have satellite offices in France and Korea. And just as recently as the end of last year, we had recorded about 40 billion data points, which continues to grow at a very fast pace each year. Back in 2009, we started looking at what was being offered for sensing solutions. We saw a lot of vertical solutions possibilities. We work with many different types of customers, not just greenhouses and grower houses. We cross all sorts of different markets, such as food services, manufacturing, USGS, a lot of government applications, as well as working through partners, restaurants, and larger refrigerated warehouses, among others. Monitor CHP is an interesting one. We do canine monitoring for them in all of their police vehicles. As you can see, the technology we built is very flexible, nimble, and can be used with almost any application. Let's discuss greenhouses and how the right technology can help your operations grow and become much more efficient in operations. So why smart greenhouse monitoring? For one, your goal is to decrease crop loss and increase crop yields. One of the ways you do that is by monitoring your temperatures, looking at how much water is being utilized or not, asking questions like what your humidity levels are or what your soil acidity is, among others. By monitoring all these different parameters, you're able to decrease and increase levels as needed, thus creating better grow climates. The more standard of a climate you can create for your vegetables, fruits, and plants, the more yield you're going to get out of your product. Better labor allocation. One of the things we hear quite frequently is customers have people running around checking things all the time. And it would be really nice if we could automate that somehow so we don't have to spend time doing temperature checks or checking the soil and so forth. Using wireless sensing technology to address those allows you to be much more efficient with your labor and be able to use them for the right things rather than the things that could be just remotely monitored. And then finally, reduce overhead costs and energy usage. One of the things we often hear is, we spend a lot of money on keeping our facility warm or cooled or making sure we have a suitable growing environment. In environments where energy usage is a big issue, being able to monitor how much power they're utilizing and then in turn put that power back into their operations can help in becoming more efficient in how they use their energy. A typical deployment for most of our customers start with temperature and humidity sensors. Then we get into things like AC current meters. AC current meters are used to monitor power. That's going to apply a little bit more to grow house environments. However, you can also utilize AC if you're providing overhead lighting in a greenhouse to help understand how much power those lights are using. In addition, connecting AC current meters to those lines can be useful to understanding allocation of energy usage. Light meters are another excellent option to have in your green or grow house. You can tell exactly how much light is coming in and how that exposure is affecting your plants in the long term. Water detection is a great choice to have as far as soil moisture goes and temperature regulation. Another sensor I want to touch on is the dry contact sensor. We work with a lot of greenhouses that use generators as backups for their greenhouses in case they lose power. The generators usually have a dry contact on them, and the purpose is to be able to help monitor if the generator is turning on or off. Generally, greenhouses have maintenance people to test generators on a weekly basis to make sure they're in running order. This particular company found the maintenance crews sometimes neglected their weekly test. To offset this, a dry contact sensor was installed so an alert would send notifying of a test. One sensor, multiple crises averted. Let's look at a greenhouse use case we did a profile on. This particular grower was seeing a lot of plant growth variation in one of their new greenhouses, so the managers needed to know what was causing the plants to be somewhat hindered in certain areas of the greenhouse. In some areas, they were growing very well, while in contrast in other areas, they were not seeing the same type of growth. Something needed to be done quickly to see why those plants were being affected. The company was looking for a solution that could help them quickly assess what was going on and get the right technology in place that would help them fix the problem. Additionally, they wanted a better overall greenhouse management solution to help them minimize their energy usage. while preventing crop issues using basic, robust climate controls for temperature, humidity, water detection, and lighting. And then maintain a consistent climate within the greenhouse to maintain a consistent yield out of the products. One of the ways they were looking to achieve all of this was through the sensor technology Monnit provides. This gives you a picture of the technology, ideas, and expertise provided for them. They suspended their sensors in a grid pattern from above. The kind of deployment depends on how you water in your grow house. If you're watering from below, then suspending sensors from above is not a big issue. If you water from above, then you're going to need to protect the sensors or use our industrial sensors, because you're going to be incurring water on the sensing technology itself. What was done in this case was they deployed temperature and humidity sensors at about 12 to 15 sensors per hectare. We get asked this question a lot. How many sensors should we deploy? And the answer is, how much data do you want? Monnit could recommend all sorts of different things, but it usually comes down to what's your budget or how much data do you want to consume. The more sensors you employ, the more granular you can get as far as your analysis of the greenhouse goes. The fewer sensors you use, while taking a step forward by deploying some sort of technology, you're not going to get as detailed of information about what's going on within the greenhouse as you would if you were deploying more sensors. Usually, though, it comes down to budget and how much data you want to consume. Another sensor we recommended was the soil moisture sensor that has a temperature sensor built in. We advised using this sensor every 10 square meters. What they ended up using was one temperature sensor and one moisture sensor for every plant type. We also introduced them to our PAR light meter to show them what spectrum was coming into the greenhouse and how much light they're getting over a 24-hour period. They needed only one of those per greenhouse. You don't need to have those dispersed out everywhere because you're not going to get that much variance as far as your light goes. They also needed to know what their CO2 levels were within the greenhouse and when they should be adding fresh air, venting, or turning the fans on to keep the air at good parts per million on the CO2 side. Let's take a moment here and explain how the Monnit solution works, as we get questions about this frequently. We have our wireless sensors, and we have over 80 different sensor types available. We have a wide range of sensors beyond what we're talking about today. We have 80 different sensor types that use a local RF network. Many of you may remember the 900 megahertz phones we had back in the day. With the 900 megahertz we had back in the 90s, it seemed you could walk a mile with the handset and still carry on a conversation. This is the same type of technology, but much more advanced. However, not the same power output, but exactly the same type of technology. It's 900 megahertz, or depending on where you are in the world, we have a frequency that's supported there. The wireless gateways collect the data from up to 100 different sensors, where the data is pushed into the cloud where the users can interface with the data. Users can do things like set up alerts, monitor data, and run reports, among others. All this can be accessed by mobile device or your desktop browser. As mentioned previously, we have over 80 different sensor types. You'll find we have a lot of environmental sensors in addition to power sensors and motion sensors. Motion sensors are motion detection and the vibration meters. This could be used when you need to monitor a motor of some sort. Alta Sensors is our branded technology. It's our Generation 2 product. It's everything we hoped our Generation 1 product would be when we launched. But over time, we figured out we needed to revolutionize our sensor platform. Generation 2 is our branded output technology. In a building environment, we're going to get 2,000 feet non-line of sight, while greenhouses non-line of sight go further because there's less obstruction. However, as plants grow, those sensors could become obstructed. If this happens, you may see a range reduction in the greenhouse. Let's remember plants are full of water. Water does not work well with RF transmission. It's an RF inhibitor. So as your plants grow, if you're hanging sensors from the rafters of the greenhouse, you may find the need to bring those sensors up above the plant line, so you're not trying to transmit through a bunch of leaves. The AA version of our sensors will last 10 years on most sensors. Some will have a shorter lifespan, like our water presence temperature sensor that goes into the soil. This sensor will probably yield 2 years. This is in line with our PAR sensor with 2 years of battery life. Remember, some sensors burn a lot more power while doing their job, but for the most part, 80% of our sensors last about 10 years running on 2 AA batteries. The data is encrypted at a 128-bit encryption. Most of our customers get up and running with data from their sensing kit at around 15 minutes. We find the out-of-the-box experience is quite good for them. As far as gateways go, we have two options available. We have an Ethernet version and a cellular version. The Ethernet version will obviously require an Ethernet connection in the greenhouse. If you don't have that, then the cellular option will be your choice. The cellular option is a nice option because all we need is power. You can put it wherever you have power. Because the sensors do better if they're not trying to transmit through a bunch of leafy products, we recommend if you can mount the gateway higher up on the greenhouse, like on a post or a wall, to do so. If you're hanging the sensor from the ceiling, or you have sensors mounted on posts amongst the greens, you want to get as much line of sight as possible so that you have a good RF connection. The cellular gateway is a 4G gateway that comes in a commercial or industrial option. Typically in a greenhouse environment, we recommend the industrial option mainly because your humidity levels tend to be a little bit higher. Over time, that has a tendency to corrode the electronics if they are not protected by a NEMA No. 4 box. Our industrial version of our cellular gateway is protected in a NEMA No. 4 box. On the cellular side of things, if you're going that route, Monnit can provide you with a data plan. It's a $10 monthly charge, or you can source your own SIM card from your cellular provider. If that's the route you decide to go, talk to your sales rep. There are a few things you'll need to know. We usually encourage people to buy the data from us. Additional hardware that's useful in the greenhouse environment are wireless controllers. We have a 10 amp and a 30 amp control. Each controller can manage up to 2 different relay switches if needed to. For example, if the temperature of a greenhouse gets above a certain level and you want to turn on the fans or open up the vents and let some fresh air in, the control units can be set to do that for you automatically if a perimeter is met. Control units are convenient to have if you're looking to automate things. You don't have to have somebody running around flipping vents open, or if the temperature gets too high or the humidity levels are too much. A wireless thermostat can really be nice as well. You can mount that inside the greenhouse. It is tamper-proof. No adjusting of the settings can be done at the thermostat itself. Within the thermostat, you get a temperature, humidity, and motion sensor reading as well. And the configuration for the thermostat happens through the software interface. We provide for everything. Speaking of the software, we suggest our customers use our cloud-based solution where we manage everything for them. Database management is one of the many services we offer. We also offer an on-premises version of the software if that better fits your needs. Your sales rep will walk you through those options. It's important to note most of our customers use our cloud-based solution and are happy with what's provided. Updates and new features are automatically passed down to you, the user, via the software interface. For our more advanced users, we offer APIs. Perhaps you have a BMS system or some sort of software platform you want to be able to use. We have APIs available, so you can take the data from our cloud and push it directly into a third-party application. If you have additional questions, you can speak with a sales representative after this presentation. A definite value proposition is our easy setup and integration. Most customers are up and running within 15 minutes. Monnit has technical support 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, Mountain Standard Time. We have extended hour support options available at cost. In addition to all this, we offer a 1-year guarantee on our products. Extended warranties of up to 3 years are available for an additional cost. However, most of our customers use our standard 1-year warranty. This presentation will be made available. However, we also have links to our use cases, white papers, and applications by sensors, if needed. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and ask for a sales representative. You can email us at info@monnit.com. This concludes the presentation. As this was a recording, you didn't have a chance to ask questions, so we're going to turn this over to our live representative hosting this. Feel free to ask them your questions. Thank you for taking the time today. We look forward to hearing from you.